I'm so glad y'all are here today. We have a lot to talk about. Before we get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody, everywhere, in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all had a wonderful week. Hope everybody is feeling good. You guys, so much to talk about. Everything from what's going on recently in the Bryan Kohberger case with the Idaho 4, as well as Karen Reed. And y'all, the verdict is in, even though they drug everybody through the mud to get here. And we got a lot to talk about. Before we get into it, though, I did want to let you guys know, if you don't already know, hi, my name is Christina. I do have a second channel, which is Casually Christina, and we just do things more casually over there. I also have a Patreon. My Patreon's for 18 and up, and over there we talk about more personal stuff. We go live over there, and there's a $2 tier for all the true crime stuff that cannot go onto YouTube due to their terms and policies. That goes over on my Patreon under the $2 tier. Just make sure you read the full about section and what each tier offers before you join. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Like to Know It. And Like to Know It is a platform where you can find links to a lot of the things that I use and that I love and that y'all ask about. Everything from makeup, skincare, clothing items, workout gear, all that type of stuff that I want to link over there, I do. And all of those platforms are linked down in the description box if you would like to come and check me out. Before we go any further, I did want to stop and thank today's sponsor, Factor. Eat stress-free with delicious, ready-to-eat meals straight from Factor. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Each week, you can choose from a menu of 35 different options, including very popular options like Calorie Smart, Vegan, Veggie, Protein Plus, and even Keto. And you can also discover more than 60 add-ons every week, like different breakfast items or lunch on the go, different snacks, and even beverages to help you stay fueled and feeling your best all day long. So what are you waiting for? Get started today and fuel up for your springtime goals. And for me, Factor meals help eliminate the hassle of prepping, cooking, and even cleaning up. So if you're trying to stay on track with certain nutrition goals, or if you're just trying to make sure that you eat in a more sustainable way, you can simply heat your Factor meal and savor the delicious flavor. And don't forget to check out Factor's gourmet meals. This week, I was really loving the filet mignon with red pepper and tortellini. Oh my gosh, so delicious. I mean, this meal had lots of healthy fats, 42 grams of protein, and only 570 calories. And I didn't even have to meal prep it myself. If you want to try Factor, all you gotta do is go to factor75.com or just click the link down in the description box and use my code 50ChristinaRandall and you can get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box today. Yes, that's code 50ChristinaRandall at factor75.com and you can save today. Thanks again, Factor. So, okay, in today's video, I want to talk about both Karen Reed verdict and the Bryan Kohberger hearing that just happened this past Wednesday on June 18th, plus what a DoorDash driver said about Bryan Kohberger. So first, let's start with the Karen Reed verdict. If you are not familiar with the Karen Reed case, I have a video from last year that I did, and I've done a few updates since. Basically, this woman has gone through 2 totally separate trials, and finally this week, the criminal case against her has come to a close. And what a roller coaster of emotions it was waiting for a verdict. If y'all are on my Patreon, y'all know we've been going back and forth about this. I thought that the day that the trial was over, we were going to get a verdict back immediately. Every single day, I don't know about y'all, I kept thinking, what is the jury doing? Like, why is it taking them so long? To me, it was pretty easy that it was going to be not guilty, a not guilty verdict. However, the first time we heard anything from the jury after they were sent back for deliberations was when they came back with 4 questions for the judge. And to no one's surprise, the questions were pretty much relating to the second charge against Karen, which was the lesser included charges, and how confusing the verdict slip was, which for those of us that watch these trials and cases and stuff like that, I have never seen verdict slips that are so confusing in this trial with Karen Read and her previous trial. It's almost like it was on purpose, but you know, they wouldn't do that on purpose. And without getting into all the like nitty gritty stuff to do with the trial, the questions that the jurors had for the judge basically kind of indicated that they were going to vote not guilty on counts 1 and 3, and maybe guilty on one of the lesser included, which was count 2, which was the simple OUI charge. And at this point, we were all thinking, okay, it shouldn't be long now before a verdict is announced. Well, it was still a while. And then finally on Wednesday after lunch, the judge came on record and said during the lunch break that the jurors had knocked on the door and said that they had a verdict. But then the judge said, before she could announce that there was a verdict and summon everyone back into the courtroom, that the jury knocked on the door again and said, never mind. And all of us were panicking. But then a couple hours later on Wednesday, June 18th, the court announced that there was a verdict. And by this time, all of us has been watching this. I mean, I had it on my television. I'm cooking in the background. I'm like, what is going on here? This is the most wildest thing I've ever seen. And the verdict was read.
Mr. Foreman, on docket number 2282 CR 117001, murder in the second degree, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you?
Charlie.
No. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do all of you agree?
Yes.
Thank you. 002, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
Of.
Is not guilty or guilty of that charge or any lesser included charge?
Question.
Thank you. Specifically number 5, operating under the influence of liquor by operating a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater. Correct?
Yes.
So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Guilty.
So say you all?
Yes. Guilty.
003, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? Is the defendant not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
So say you all?
Yes.
Jurors, hearken your verdict as the court records that you upon your oath say the defendant on 001 is not guilty, on 002 is guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, and 003 not guilty. Thank you.
So long story short, the bigger charges that they charged Karen Read with, she was found not guilty on in the least charge, which was the OUI charge, basically driving while drinking. She was found guilty of, which nobody disputed. Everybody knew that Karen admitted herself that she admitted she had 4 drinks and she drove that night, which, mind you, I'm wondering if they're going to go back and arrest all of the police officers and all of the professionals that said that they drove drunk that night now. That'd be only fair, right? Especially after Karen Read spent probably millions in her defense here. How about the Bryan Higgins situation where he was allegedly drinking and then he drove to a police station after he had been drinking all night? Maybe we need to go back and make it fair across the board. Nevertheless, all of Karen Read's attorneys and her legal team were very emotional after hearing the verdict, as you guys can imagine. I mean, they all went through so much, and the crowd outside from the courtroom went absolutely wild, cheering their heads off. You could literally, when you're watching the verdict, you could hear people screaming outside from the cameras inside.
Resulting in death, the defendant not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
So say you all?
Yes.
But that wasn't all. The judge immediately sentenced Karen. Like at first, the judge said that they were going to reschedule her to come back for sentencing on this lesser charge. However, the judge asked the prosecution what sentence they were seeking, and they said 1 year probation, which is a typical sentence for somebody with a first-time OUI charge. So that's what the judge sentenced Karen to, 1 year probation. So after all these years, 2 separate, very expensive trials, and mind you, I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw a couple articles yesterday that said that this new lead prosecutor that they had in this trial made like $500,000. Allegedly, I don't know. Y'all do your own research, form your own opinions. I pulled that from an article that he made $500,000 just from this trial. So that is a lot. That's just one person. That is a lot of money that went into prosecuting this woman. Tax funded, by the way. The locals pay taxes for the prosecution to be going after her twice, and allegedly that's what he got paid just in this one trial, and that's one person. A lot of money was spent, or some people would say wasted, prosecuting the wrong person. However, Karen Reed has finally been found not guilty of harming John O'Keefe on the night of January 29th of 2022. Now, after the verdict was read, Karen and her parents and her lawyers all came out and gave a statement.
I just want to say two things. Number one is I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters who have supported me and my team financially and, more importantly, emotionally for almost 4 years. And the second thing I want to say is no one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have and my team. Thank you.
So do you want to see it reopened? Karen, do you want to see the case reopened? Should the case be reopened? No, the case cannot be reopened. Alan, this case is over. No, I mean, the case is searching for someone else.
What did this say? This is what it's saying about justice.
I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it to Karen and her dad. Her dad has a comment. Let her dad make a comment.
Mr. O'Keefe, what does this say about justice?
Mr. Reed.
I want to acknowledge the strength of our daughter Karen, the support of the entire Reed extended family. I want to acknowledge the greatest team of attorneys. Our first one that we found was David Yannetti. We added Alan Jackson and Liza Little. Bob Alessi, you know about. All right? It was a fantastic team, but we needed them all to defeat this. We thank everybody for their support from the heart. We love you all of the content providers who help spread the word. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
The investigation.
Let's do this.
Let's get ready.
And again, you guys, when I tell y'all the crowd outside the courthouse was something I'd never seen before, I mean it. I mean, there were moments where they were chanting for the local district attorney to resign. They were also chanting, "Bev needs to go," which you guys know, Bev was the judge.
Morrissey resign! Morrissey resign! Morrissey resign! But like, Morrissey resign! Morrissey resign! Morrissey resign! That was, we want our money back! Bev needs to go! Bev needs to go! Bev needs to go! Bev needs to go! Bev needs to go!
There was even one lady that was wearing a dog mask out there with a sign that says, "I bite, I bite, I bite." Now, let me just remind y'all that the Alberts had a German Shepherd that was known to be quite aggressive that they conveniently rehomed after the John O'Keefe incident. I'm going to play a couple videos and then y'all can decide which one makes more sense in your own mind. Him getting these scratch type of marks from the back of a 6,000-pound vehicle or possibly a dog. And you compare that to the photo of John O'Keefe's arm. I mean, people were out there making a statement. And if y'all watch the trial, the prosecution literally had an expert come and testify that Karen could have backed into him and busted the taillight, and they had John O'Keefe's, like the person that's supposed to be John O'Keefe's arm, hit the tail light and spin around and try to make it seem like he got his arm damaged like this from being hit by a tail light. And just for a little extra tidbit of information, that man, Judson Welcher, the one that put on this demonstration for the prosecution in the Karen Reed case, which I find to be absolutely ridiculous with the blue paint, allegedly, he was paid $325,000, taxpayer money, by the way, to put on this demonstration in court to try to explain away those marks on John O'Keefe's arm.
Are there any marks on the Lexus itself that you took note of?
Yes, it's on the next slide.
Thank you.
Actually, it's 2 slides. So there, again, this is the evidence marker. There was a horizontal scuff. We know Mr. O'Keefe had blue jean type pants on. There's a scuff in the area that would approximately correspond to hip level for Mr. O'Keefe.
It's just, in my opinion, so ridiculous. Anyways, a couple hours after the verdict was read, Jen McCabe, one of my favorite people to testify in the first trial, favorite meaning entertaining, Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, Chris Albert, Julie Albert, Colin Albert, Nicole Albert, Bryan Albert, Carrie Roberts, and Kurt Roberts all put out this joint statement, which I found very interesting, but I also think, hey, is the prosecution going to find who actually did this to John O'Keefe now? Because now that we know that by the court of law and by a jury of her peers, it wasn't Karen Reed, so maybe a real investigation can go into what exactly happened that night and why there were so many butt dials and these multiple how long to die in a cold that, Jennifer McCabe said she didn't make that search at 2:30 in the morning. Maybe they can start looking into why carpet was removed from the Alberts' home afterwards, or why the pool was filled in, or why their canine that they had for many years. And for anybody that knows police officers that have their canines, they don't usually rehome their dogs. Those dogs are like family to them. Why the dog was rehomed or the house was sold and all these interesting things that happened. Maybe now they can find out who actually did this to John O'Keefe. Now, it has also been announced that some kind of movie or documentary will be coming out about Karen's experience through all of this. And I am excited for this. Very excited to find out what all really went on behind the scenes and what all Karen says really happened that night. Because you guys have to understand, this whole time that she's been on trial, she's not really been able to tell her full side of the story. And I'm going to tell y'all a rumor that's been going on around on the internet. And I don't know if this is true. This could be totally made up. It could not be true. But I'm going to tell y'all because to me it kind of makes sense. But I guess Karen Reed is going to come out and tell her full story at some point, and I hope that she does. Allegedly, according to a rumor, a group of these people were swingers. If they were, they were. If they weren't, they weren't. But it's a rumor, okay, that they were swingers, and that's why Karen Reed did not want to go up into the house that night. She sent John O'Keefe to the house to find out what they were actually doing there and if it was okay if she wanted to go in or not. That's why she stayed in the vehicle while he walked in. Allegedly, it's could be why John O'Keefe was caught kissing that other girl while they were on vacation, if y'all know the story. And then everybody made Karen feel like she was overreacting or she was crazy, because this is kind of like a thing that they did. They kissed each other, they did whatever, they all hung out all night long at each other's houses and stuff like that. And again, I don't know if this is true, but allegedly, if y'all heard the messages that Karen Reed left on John O'Keefe's phone when she left him there at the Alberts' house that night, she was calling him a pervert and all of this stuff. Allegedly, that is why. But allegedly, the judge would not allow her to bring that into her defense because it was deemed irrelevant to the case. The fact that some of these people could have been swingers and all of that was their own personal business and was deemed irrelevant. So I'm curious if that's true, because that would fill in some of the gaps here, why she was calling him a why she felt uncomfortable in certain situations, why she had this side relationship too with Bryan Higgins and she was kissing him and all of that. I'm so curious of all of the details that Karen Read has about these people that she has not been able to say because she's been on trial and she can only say so much. So I'll be ready for the movie or the documentary so we can really hear Karen Read's side. Now, at the end of all this, let's not forget the true victim here, and that's John O'Keefe. Someone actually took his life that night. Mind you, if y'all remember, he was found with 2 black eyes, lacerations to the back of his head, those scratch or bite marks on his arm, and his family and friends have to go on living without him and without getting any kind of justice for his death. They have to live with the fact that the justice system has failed them, and that is devastating. And I hope a full investigation continues to go on with the whole Canton Police Department and all these people that were involved, because at the very least, in my unprofessional opinion, they messed this up so bad trying to cover up something. Whether it was a bunch of people that work in a professional field like this that was doing a little something, a little something that they shouldn't have been doing that night and nobody wanted to call the police, or whether it was a bunch of drunk people jumped on one guy for some reason, whether it was, there's a theory out there that when John O'Keefe came into the home, the dog jumped on him and bit him, and he was punching the dog, and then everybody jumped on him, and it went too far, and they drug him out in the front yard, or whether what happened. Something happened, and they messed up the investigation. Do you know the lead investigator, Michael Proctor, who has ended up being fired since then, never even went into the Alberts home to look around during this investigation? The very next day after John O'Keefe's body was found, he was texting saying that he hoped that Karen Read ended her own life. Like he, that quick, knew or was setting it in stone that Karen Read was guilty. And a full investigation hadn't even been done. The very next day, they messed this up. And unfortunately, John O'Keefe, his family, his niece and nephew, and Karen Read have all had to deal with it and will continue to have to deal with the ramifications of it. Now let's talk about Bryan Kohberger. Now, like I said earlier, there was a hearing in the Bryan Kohberger case literally at the same time the Karen Read verdict was being read, y'all. I'm like, the hearing was about the motion that the defense filed to continue the case, basically meaning that they wanted to delay the trial that is supposed to start on August 11th of this year, less than 2 months from now. And just like in her motion, Anne argued that the trial must be delayed to protect Bryan's rights. She talks about delays that her team has supposedly had in receiving discovery that she flat out said that her and her team are not prepared to go to trial, which is wild to me. They have delayed this for almost 3 years, you guys. What? Come on. She mentioned the 68 terabytes of discovery there is and how there just isn't enough time to get through it all. But we've heard this argument from Anne before. And I'm going to tell y'all, I am not convinced that somebody on her side hasn't leaked information. Again, my unprofessional opinion. I don't know any of these people. Go do your own research, form your own opinions. But like the Dateline episode and all of that information that was leaked to them, she's been trying to get a continuance on this trial again and again and again. Like, who's to say she didn't leak, or somebody on that side didn't leak a little bit of information that a way they could go, we need to delay the trial. I mean, who knows? It's just so bizarre. But not only did Anne mention the Dateline episode, she also mentioned a book that's supposedly coming out and an Amazon docuseries.
The other reason that a continuance is appropriate in this case is based on the media coverage, the Dateline issue that has been talked about in this courtroom before, and what's yet to come. The Dateline episode wasn't just a one-time deal back in May. That continues to be talked about. Everything that happens in this case continues to be talked about, and this court has a duty, a responsibility to make sure that Mr. Kohberger receives a fair trial, and a continuance may be the way that the court can best protect Mr. Kohberger. In addition to what is going on with what happened with the Dateline episode, that's not all. There's a book set to be released just a few weeks from now to be followed by a docuseries on Amazon Prime. There's a claim that there's inside sources that provide information in this case. At the very least, the moment we start attempting to select a jury in this case, those things are going to be on everybody's TV, everybody's social media feed, and some of the very witnesses that will be expected to testify will be taking part in the docuseries at least, and maybe noted in the book. That is, in and of itself, an exceptional reason for us to have a continuance to let those things play out for a while.
But the prosecution said that delaying the trial would only put them even further at the whim of the media. So to me, basically saying that the media is never going to stop, so we might as well get it done now. And I agree. Look what happened with the OJ trial. And he still got found not guilty, and the media was talking about it everywhere. And a lot of people thought he was guilty. A lot of people still believe he's guilty. You know what I mean? There's people that believe he's guilty that'll never say it out loud. And he was still found not guilty. Look at the Casey Anthony trial. That was everywhere. People were out searching for Kaylee. I mean, this was huge. And she still was found not guilty. The media is not going to stop. At the end of the hearing, Judge Hippler said that he wasn't going to give an official ruling that day, but he did say this.
All right, I'll take the matter under advisement and get an opinion out in short order. In the meantime, I fully encourage everyone to continue as if the trial is going to take place when it is scheduled for. Again, I reserve the right to write the decision that I come to, but as of now, I would tell you that it's likely you're going to trial on the date indicated.
And I just personally think he's done delaying it. Unless it's something he just can't get around, he's done delaying it. Like, he, to me, seems very firm and fair. And he's like, get ready. You guys are going to trial. One last thing that I want to talk about is this DoorDash driver that said that she saw Bryan Kohberger the night of the incident while she was delivering Xana her food. Now, I really wanted to talk about this because so many people, especially in the beginning, thought that the DoorDash driver could have been the person that did this. And in a lot of the photos, I'll pop up one here that was taken from the crime scene. Boom, there is the DoorDash delivery items. So let me tell y'all, on September 4th of last year, 2024, a 44-year-old woman was being questioned after she was arrested for allegedly driving under the influence while she mentioned that she saw Bryan Kohberger the night of the incident and parked right next to him.
Because I'm a DoorDash driver, so yeah. You have to testify in which murder case? Murder case for the college girl. Oh. I'm a DoorDash driver, I saw Bryan there. Right next to him.
Now, this interview was actually posted on a YouTube channel last year, but has only recently started to gain some attention because now this woman's initials, MM, do seem to match the initials that are written in the official court documents in regards to the DoorDash driver from the night. So when you're looking through the witnesses, MM is on there, but a lot of people assumed that MM is standing for Maddie Mogan. However, now in these court documents, MM with the parentheses DoorDash is linking possibly this woman to being the DoorDash driver. And in the video, she talks about having PTSD. She parked right next to him and says she saw Bryan Kohberger herself. So this is potentially the second eyewitness that saw him. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, if all of this stuff is true with the DNA, and I don't understand how people are still thinking that he's being set up. I mean, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Because he's cooked. If this is true, he's cooked. And I don't blame him or even his team for trying to pull every rabbit out of their hat. I mean, he has nothing to lose, especially if he's guilty for real. He has nothing to lose here. They're going after the firing squad for him. So why not run it all the way to the door? Why not drag it out? What else is he going to do? Go sit in his cell? So of course he's pushing it this far. So we don't know for sure if she is named or if she's actually going to testify. But interestingly, the defense did object last year to introducing DoorDash records into evidence at the trial. But the prosecution said that those records were important because they provided a timeline of events just before the incident happened, and they corroborated the state witness testimony. And if you remember, it is believed that Xana is the only person that was awake in the house when her DoorDash delivery was delivered just before 4 a.m., which was just minutes before the incident happened. The media has tried to reach out to the woman directly and DoorDash for comment. However, neither of them have responded. And I would believe that if she is the woman, she's not responding because she's not allowed to respond. It's one thing for her to be arrested and she's sitting there talking to another officer saying she's going to have to testify that she saw Bryan Kohberger that night. I mean, because you got to think it was literally just minutes. So the DoorDash driver dropped off the items, and according to the Dateline episode, that white car, the one they believe is Bryan Kohberger's, was circling around the house. And if she went up and dropped the items off, she probably went back and sat in her car for a second. People don't usually just jump in and pull off. And she could have seen him. If it's all true, you guys, I'm ready to see this trial. I'm ready to see what the defense is. What is the defense? We know that his alibi has been, I was driving around stargazing that night. But his DNA just happened to pop up on the knife sheath. At this point, it's like, okay. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Other than that, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see y'all next week in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.